Hey there, it's Russ Braun, and you're on Flash Pages. So enjoy the show.
So the only thing left to say, of course, is the one obvious thing. Hey, stop it!
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you as always. And with us, we'll kick it off with Carrie. How's it going?
Going good, everybody. Hey, I hope you're all having a great week. Hey, Tom Dog. How's it going? We have a great show set up tonight. We have an amazing guest. We read some awesome comics, and I'm sure that there are plenty of questions that you guys are going to have. We also have a lot of news, and this is the prelude to the upcoming Comic Cons where we're going to have a whole lot more news. So get ready for the influx. We're starting it tonight. Let's see how JoJo is doing.
Jar Jar.
Meep. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and as Carrie said, we got a fantastic show ahead of us. I'm really excited. I never read quite the kind of comics that we read this time around, and I have some questions. It was some serious stuff, and it made you think. Good stuff. Over to Drew.
Mr. Drew.
I'm sorry. Just made you think. I was like, yes, comics, thinking. Contrary to popular
We made
belief.
Jeremy think.
I know. Whew. And he didn't need a sword or to yell out phrases in order to do it. It's a big step for him. Hey, everybody.
I still had a sword and was yelling out phrases.
All right. So, hey, everybody. I'm the end of the story, I guess. So I'm Drew. You already knew that, and well, they've said everything I could, so we're just going to go from there. So yes, and we have a fantastic guest on. He is an absolute hilarious person to meet. He's worked Disney animation. He's worked with Marvel. He's worked with DC, Dynamite. He has done all sorts of things, drawn all sorts of things, and yet his opinion of the world isn't too jaded yet. Everybody, the one, the only artist extraordinaire, Mr. Russ Braun.
Hey, how you doing?
It's all good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Every show.
Well, yeah. So as I was saying before the show, Russ, it's nice to see you and not in front of a booth, you know?
I'm unfortunately not set up in a proper studio or anything right now. I'm kind of between, but the convention scene wasn't that big for me this year, but I'll be going to a few places. It's always nice to see people. out and about. You know, when you're doing you draw comics, you're just kind of on your own. So getting out to shows, whether they're really busy or really kind of quiet, like that last one we were at, it's nice to be able to catch up with people and see what they like about what you do, and you know, not many jobs where people can come up to you and say thanks for what you do, and it's really nice to hear that. So it's kind of cool. But
it's got to be feeling pretty great, like especially these days with how popular The Boys is and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's definitely been
cow.
an uptick. Yeah, as far as like recognition from some people, although my name isn't anywhere on the show, and most people haven't read the comic books, so I get a lot of people. They'll walk by and they'll see I have prints and stuff up of all the different characters from the show, and they'll be like, "Oh, The Boys! Oh, that's so cool!" And they're like, "Wait, you drew this stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, it was a comic book before it was a TV show." So yeah, that's kind of cool. But, yeah.
So I have to ask, Russ, because I was thinking about this. Like, there were really three people who drew The Boys. I mean, so you had Derek Robinson, who started it. You drew a huge chunk of it, and then John McCrea doing, like, I don't want to say the weird stories, because with The Boys that could be anything. But he handled, like, sometimes the fill-ins or the mini series, your hero-gasms and things.
Yeah.
You had to draw a lot of interesting things.
Yep.
Was there anything that on The Boys, considering what we've seen of the show, which I've always tell people is extremely tame considering the book, was there anything that you drew and then you had to take the rest of the night off to just kind of, I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that's the violence is what it is, and we didn't really go full cartoony with the violence because it had to be gritty and real. It had to be impactful. So
Right.
The sex stuff was a little bit worse with the Legend and Maeve, and as I said, the worst thing I think I had to draw is the Legend's O face. There was like this little set of photographs of him kind of like behind Maeve, and that was pretty creepy. So no therapy from any of this. I think I handle it all pretty well. But the thing is, I mean, I got really invested in the book, and it was funny. Like there's the disturbing stuff, the violence and the sex, but the characters are so strong. You got to identify with the characters so much. There were things like when I had to do stuff in the books, try to keep it somewhat spoiler free, I guess, but like a lot of character deaths, and they'd affect me. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I'm killing this character that I've come to really love drawing, and also I felt bad. It's like I'm killing Derek's character because he co-created them, and I was just I basically drew about a third of the whole thing. So like the last third of the whole thing. John McCrea did some during my tenure too, my part on it. And he did almost as much as I did, I think, if you include Highland Laddie and Hero Gasm.
Right.
And there were a bunch of other people that came in to help out. It's doing a monthly comic is not easy. Keeping on deadline is really hard.
Right.
So, and they were dedicated to getting this thing out on a monthly basis. So the deadlines were tight. I mean, sometimes I was drawing like a whole issue in three weeks. So 3 weeks. Usually, you want to have 4 to 5 weeks to get a comic book out.
Right.
And we didn't have the time, so I did the best I could. But yeah, the thing that not to like take a fun question and make it serious, but
no,
the scene that I drew that really affected me the most was Mother Milk's death when he's fighting Butcher. Well, spoilers. And just as his line, Butcher, like he's got Butcher pinned down, and he says they're talking, and Butcher's just kind of like, well, you're my best. You basically were my best friend, is what he said. You're my best mate, and then Butcher blew up his face with a hand grenade. But I was actually emotional drawing it. Like I was kind of like, they have this big fight, and I'm drawing it, and I'm kind of like tearing up while I'm drawing, Mother's Milk's last breaths. So it was a really great book to work on. I love The Boys. And it was just kind of a historic moment for me career-wise too.
so I have to ask, because the show is we just concluded the 4th season. The 5th season is final. I mean, it left us on such a cliffhanger, which, again, if you've read the book, this is the only way it was supposed to go. It's going to be war. Have you been able, because I know that certain actors go to the cons and stuff. Were you ever able to meet anybody from the boys and kind of do that? I know who you are. I helped draw you. Like, how you doing?
On
Like,
your death.
I did, yeah. I got to see them, most of them actually, at Toronto Comic Con last year, and they're filming in Toronto, so they were all there, and I got to go there, and there was nothing set up. I was a work for hire guy, so I'm not part of the show. I don't get anything for it. Just I love it. I love the show. I'm just a fan. So I ended up doing drawings of all the characters, all the actors as their characters, and I like to draw them in like their character kind of get up from the comic too. So I just basically took it upon myself to go over there and meet them, and I tried actually at their panel. I was supposed to talk to them after the panel, but they got whisked away very quickly by their handlers, and I think Jack Quaid had heard me saying who I was and why I was there. And he just kind of, like, as they were hustling him out, he went, "Come see us come back by the table, come back, where we are." So I was like, "All right, I'll try." And went up, met a bunch of them, gave them drawings of themselves just for fun, and they were all super nice. And I told them my line was, I said, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm your comic stepdad. I'm the guy who took over for the end of the book." And I said, "And ultimately, I'm not the greatest stepdad in the world because I killed most of you. So you all died on my watch." So it was fun telling Carl Urban that I killed him.
Yeah, right.
But, they're all very nice.
Oh yeah. So I have one more, and then I'm going to let Carrie and Jar and Leo take the rest. What? Because you've drawn quite a bit, and I want to ask, what's the weirdest thing
God
that you've seen?
Stop asking all my questions.
Shut up, Jar. I just want to ask him, what's the weirdest thing you've seen? Because again, I would say the boys, but I also know you did Six Pack and Dog Welder.
That's the one I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Six Pack and Dog Welder is the weirdest thing I've ever drawn, and I mean, ultimately in that, I drew a character whose power is that he welds dead dogs to people's faces, that you think was just kind of a joke. But ultimately, he ends up being the savior of the universe and the Earth, especially because he's been kind of like destined his whole life for this purpose. And the welding dogs was the precursor to welding the dog stars together to save the universe, because they were going to.
Well, the only reason I ask is when I met John, I think it was like at a Comic-Con like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
He told me that he's been to international cons and he's seen people like cosplay Dog Welder.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm sorry, what? And I bring this up because I recommended Carrie on my
Yeah.
That's
side.
no, that's
To read Hitman, and she absolutely loved Section 8, and her favorite one was the Defensitrator, right?
Defenestrator.
Yeah, okay, that word.
You didn't get to draw him. I was like,
I didn't know. I know he was actually, he is in like one panel being killed, like in a flashback that I got to draw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just a fancy word for death by being pushed out a window is what defenestration is. So, but yeah,
it's why
again,
I love
I love doing that. But I end up drawing things because they're available. John McCrae was too busy with other projects to work on that. He's drawn everything Hitman, period. It's like he should draw it all. He just couldn't, so I happened to jump in, and I kept it as close to what his craziness was as possible. He's a friend of mine. He's a great guy, and I was honored to do it. But again, some weird stuff, and Hitman in general. That stuff is like some unsung great comics by Garth. It's one of Garth's best. Garth and John, just that's like an amazing team. Just like Garth and Steve Dillon for years. So
yeah, well done.
It's good to have good partnerships, I think.
Absolutely. All right, guys. You guys ask questions now. I'm good.
Okay.
Before we stray too far from the boys, I know we don't want to focus too much on it, but in watching the show, was there any scenes that, you know, a lot of comic book shows, they try to like film a scene exactly how it was drawn? Did you notice that in any of the show where they adapted one of your scenes?
So, not really. Somewhat. They've really gone. They've got the characters down, but they've changed the storyline so much that there's only little bits and pieces in it that are actually on the screen. I'll notice like sometimes just a little tiny thing. Like there was one scene where they're throwing darts at a dartboard with Homelander's face on the dartboard, and I had drawn that scene. And so like that's kind of something. But I got to be honest with you too. Is like I just get involved with the show because I'm such a fan of the show that I'm not really paying attention to the details. People show me Easter eggs later on, and I'll watch some stuff that says like, "Did you notice this? Did you notice that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't notice that. I should," because you know, I drew that. But yeah, no, it's such a good show that I can't get wrapped up in the details like that. I just get lost in the world of it. So.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes I wish they could have done that I got to draw, but they went different directions. And it's nice to see Jack from Jupiter. That was a scene I got to draw, like this, just in like the background in like some porn film they had.
Yep.
So at least he made it in there for a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, it's. I don't want to sit here and gush, but I'm such a fan of the show and what they've done with.
You can gush, man. This is a free space.
Yeah.
Gush as much as you want. We do it every Tuesday.
There's no spoiling in the last episode yet because I haven't watched the final episode yet.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
I'm sorry. I've been watching so many different things, Leo. I've been studying and reading. And
Darth Vader is Luke's father. Spoiled.
Well, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the 5th season now that they killed everybody in the. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. I'm out of here. You guys find somebody else to pick on.
It's okay, Beaker. It's all fine.
What if you were a soup? Like, this is just a weird question since we're on the boys and we're trying to get off of it. But if you were a soup, what kind of special power do you think you would want for yourself?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that would be nice. No, I like the idea of both invulnerability and immortality. So I could just really like. I wouldn't have to be that much on the offense, but that I wouldn't be able to be killed, and that I could just kind of be around for everything else, you know. So I would combine those two, I guess. But
be like a watcher.
Really fun. I'm thinking practical, you know.
Fair enough.
And alternately, I would just be Spider-Man because he was my favorite superhero as a kid, and why not?
Nice.
He's got a pretty decent set of powers and a little bit of everything.
And he stays immortal. He's like a teenager forever, right?
Yeah. He's been like 25 for like 60 years.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, definitely. So, kind of changing subjects briefly, like Russ, you got to work on some Spider-Man projects for Marvel, right?
Nope. I've never done anything official for Marvel Spider-Man. I did actually a long time ago, like back in the early '90s. I did some advertising stuff that had Spider-Man. It was like, I think I drew like almost animated style Spider-Man for like fruit roll-ups or something.
Oh, nice.
But no, nothing official. And I never even got to see those actually. I just draw Spider-Man every week for Webhead Wednesday, and just because I'm a fan. So
one day I'm hoping for you, buddy. Yeah,
we'll see. No, I did do my own little crazy art book, like a sketchbook of all the drawings from Spider-Man 77, the TV show.
Okay.
Oh, no kidding.
TV show that's pretty much forgotten by almost everybody, but
yeah,
I went down a COVID rabbit hole. Actually, supervillain of the show, and the show was, you know, improved. Who could play the actual villains? What might they have looked like? So I found like 70s era actors that would take the job and would be maybe, you know, big enough or not too big to actually take the position. And was fun. So I put out a book of that, and so it was my own thing. It's not an official Marvel thing. And
That's cool.
they've never released anything of that show. There's no DVD. There's nothing. So you got to go buy my sketchbook.
Who's your favorite Spidey villain?
Oh, so many of them. It varies from day to day. Right now, I'm probably going to go back to the Lizard. The Lizard was one of my favorites when I was a kid. So Green Goblin's so obvious, and but I mean, I kind of like for a while I had every issue of every run of Spider-Man. I don't have
nice.
I mean, I have them in reprints. I don't have issue number 1 or anything like that.
Right.
I have the Marvel Tales back to the beginning, and then from that point on, I started in the early '70s collecting it. But I've kind of like lost track of them now. I hate to say, like again with COVID, I didn't even get out to comic stores. I used to at least read to see what was going on with the character, but things have gone by the wayside for me a little bit, and I'd like to get back to it. It's like being a comic artist and not having been up to date with the comics is kind of bothering me.
Don't worry. It's all still the same. Everything sucks. He's still broke. He can't keep a relationship. Everyone hates him. Villain bad. Spider-Man.
No,
Really?
John Romita Jr. took over again, and I saw a couple of those issues. But yeah, other than that, I've kind of lost track of them a bit.
That's fine. You'll catch up.
I know Carrie had a question, but quick question since we're on Spider-Man. And this will loop back to a question I have for you a little bit later. But what story drew you into Spider-Man when you were growing up?
Well, that's a good question.
Probably, the very first issues I was reading were when Harry Osborn had taken over the mantle of the Goblin, and it was just this super emotional stuff. Like to see him, and it wasn't the drug stuff. It was after that when he kind of took over. And Peter realized that my best friend is now poisoned against me too. So it was like, not only was it action packed, but it was like this deep soap opera type stuff. And I was a kid growing up in Queens. I lived pretty close to Forest Hills where Peter Parker did. So it was just one of these things where it's just like, oh, I am all about this. Before the comics though, it was the TV show, the Ralph Bakshi cartoon, the '67 cartoon.
Right,
that was on repeats. And so I was like 4 years old watching this, and then my dad showed me that it's not just on TV. These are in comic books. I didn't know comic books, and I was like, I mean, I don't have to wait till 2:30 every afternoon. I can just read this up anytime I want. And took me to the drugstore and spin a rack, and there it was. We get like an ice cream soda and get like 3 comics for like 50 cents.
Oh yeah,
back in the day. And,
and back in the day, you could also see him on Electric Company.
Yeah. That was pretty soon after that. Yeah, Electric Company. And I've got to admit, I was kind of pissed at Electric Company because he kind of got his ass kicked quite a bit on that. So what he actually did. But I was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the one with Peter Parker and Harry Osborn. So I think it's around 136, 137. Amazing.
Okay. Nice. Just to tie it in before we'll go to Carrie. Actually, I'll bring it up later. Carrie, go for it.
Okay. First off, we do have a question from our viewers. Tom Dog would like to know, how many Disney animated films have you contributed to?
God damn it.
I started. Well, I did an internship in 1991, and they were working on Beauty and the Beast down in Florida. So I did get to help out on one drawing, uncredited, on Beauty and the Beast. So I don't really count that, but I know I was there for it. I went back to work for them full time in '97. So I worked on Mulan, Tarzan, Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch, and Brother Bear. I think that's the main ones I did. And there were a couple of different side projects, but yeah, Mulan and Lilo and Stitch were the main ones that I got to work on, and Brother Bear was the last one I worked on. And those were like full films that we did. The other ones we just helped out on here and there. So on Mulan, I drew Mulan and Grandma. Those were the characters I was on the team for. And I was in cleanup. I mean, our group was like responsible for making everything look like the character, putting it all on model. There's like always, we had a team of over 200 people drawing these films. So, and it was, you know, an honor to be a part of, but it was more task oriented and the craft part of it than the creative part of it for me. Not to say, I mean, I love the Disney movies, but for me, it was, I felt like I wasn't creatively fulfilled as much as I wanted to be. So when the studio did shut down, I came back up to New York and said, well, I started in comics. Let me try and get back into comics. And after a while, that kind of worked out. But yeah, the Disney movies there, and even the smaller projects were fun too. They did like a little Match Girl short and a Goofy How to Haunt a House. So I got to actually draw Goofy.
Cool.
Nice.
But yeah, and Lilo and Stitch was probably my favorite to work on. I have a soft spot for Mulan because that was my first one, but Lilo and Stitch was just such an amazing experience and such a different look. And I worked on Jumba. Well, we were Team Jumba.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, and Brother Bear was the two moose characters, Rut and Took, Bob and Mackenzie, SCT.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
What about Tarzan?
Oh, Tarzan was just miscellaneous stuff. Most of the time I spent on Tarzan was drawing gigantic elephants. There was that one scene where the elephants are running around. Tarzan's been convinced, the young Tarzan has been convinced to take the hair out of the tail of an elephant. And the thing is, you don't realize when you're drawing this stuff, like especially big like that, I had to draw, the line quality went from like a razor thin line to like, as the elephants got closer to the camera, you have to make the line like that wide. And so some of those drawings took like almost 2 or 3 hours to just do one drawing. And you're supposed to try and get like, I don't know, 9 or 10 drawings done a day. And that was like pulling teeth to get those done. But yeah, the giant elephants, I did giant elephants and tiny little gorillas in that movie. And every now and then I never got to draw Tarzan himself though. I drew Turk and a couple other characters, but again, it's such a huge endeavor to get these things done that that was done for California, and they would send scenes over to us that they just needed to get done.
Right.
Like inventory stuff. We need this one out. It's ready. Ship it out to them. And yeah, all about footage. So.
That's cool. Any crazy stories from any of the Disney times? Anything that went on that you saw, like maybe they have the what's that urban myth about the Little Mermaid cover where there's supposed to be dicks all over the cover or something like that.
A lot of those we were able to debunk a lot of those. Like the one I thought was hilarious is when they talk about in Lion King that there's a scene where it says sex.
Yeah.
And it's SFX, special effects. They did that. The special effects group, they do all like the smoke effects and fire and all this other stuff that you don't even think of when you're doing the character animation. It's amazing what they're able to do. So they just put that little nod for themselves in there. And people are like, if you were going to write something dirty in the sky, would you write sex? What are you, like 5 years old? So I always thought that was hilarious. But yeah, there were some things like one of my favorite ones was there was a little Hercules came out, and they had a little magnet in the parks of Hercules. But now the way it looked is Hercules was running towards you, and in a comic book type pose, his knee was back, so it just looked like basically he has like this frilled kind of tunic, and it looked like a dick. So he had one leg and a big black dick hanging down. So some people bought it up pretty quick because they thought this is not going to last, and sure enough, it got like erased from the park. They got rid of all of them, but stuff like that was fun.
That's funny.
Yeah. I can't think of it too. There's another one I've never been able to debunk. There's something in The Little Mermaid where this priest that's marrying them, there's a scene where it just looks like he gets a boner. I really can't figure it out. It's supposed to be a me again or not, but other than that, they're not just myths, they're real.
Oh no,
they are out there.
Disney is very difficult with what they will let things get by, probably because of stuff like that. Because my mother was down there with some family, and she was getting me a shirt, and she was getting me a Hades shirt.
Yeah.
And you get to choose your own quotes to put on the shirts. And so I gave her a list of like 10 quotes, and they were like, we won't do any of those. And so then I started doing quotes directly from the movie.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh no, that's too dark. That's too dark. We can't. I'm like, and she looked at him. She's like, have you watched the movie? This is something he actually says.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were like, oh, okay. We thought it was something that you were making up. And she's like,
No.
no, it's actually from the movie. You guys
Yeah.
get a little dark there sometimes. So
Yeah.
you know,
They should own up to it.
um,
I didn't know that you could do that.
yeah, I
That's kind of
finally.
cool. That.
Yeah, but it was this just over and over battle of, can we get something written on this shirt besides like hi or something,
My name is.
Yeah.
What?
Hades here. But,
I had a question for you about, first of all, I'm all about the Section 8. That was just wonderful. But I did want to ask you, because you wrote in issue 0, Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man, like the first story. Okay, how fun was it to come up with the 2 different styles for the different worlds, to have like campy guy and super noir dark guy?
that was a lot of fun. It was by the time I worked on that, though, it was already Jamal Eigel had already done he set it up the world.
I follow. I that sounded familiar. I follow him on Facebook. He the 2 worlds, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the Wrong Earth is basically the
Wrong Earth.
So, and Tom Pyre, old friend of mine too. He's got kind of the head honcho there at Ahoy Comics, and he was writing it. And yeah, the basic concept is that, like, what if Dark Knight Batman crossed over with Adam West Batman? So that's for people who haven't read the stuff. But yeah, it was so much fun to do the goofy version and then the gritty version. When I was doing that, I just kind of drew it like as if the gritty version, Earth Omega, was the boys' universe, just because I'd just come off with that, and I was like, I know how to do that. And then the other one was doing like a Batman 66 kind of version of the character. It's a great fun story. I got to make up one of the villains, the Tommy Gunner, and he had basically a giant machine gun that shot boxing gloves, which was goofy good fun. And then in the Omega world, he's got this like robotic, almost like biotech arm that's not nearly so nice as boxing gloves. So yeah, great stuff. That was I'm glad you brought that up, because that's just one of those books that is fun. I love working for Ahoy. They're my favorite company by hands down to work for, and I think their books are pretty fantastic. So I wish more people knew about them. And hey, that's what we're doing here. Let's go out and get your Ahoy comic books. So good stuff.
And the one question, I won't go on and on about Section 8 stuff, but when you, in the end of Six Pack and Dog Welder, the constellation, did you get to choose exactly how to pose that and everything, or was that fed to you, or was that all you?
That was all me. Yeah, it was Garth had said that he's now a constellation in the sky. So I had to get a lot of different kind of poses to get the one that I wanted to make it. I just kept thinking like it would be a new version of like Orion, like something that's more obvious in the sky. And to draw that actually up past Six Pack, so you can see a constellation, Six Pack in the gutter. That was a difficult shot, but I think it was worth it. And that book is actually near and dear to my heart too, because Steve Dillon, I met Steve and Garth the same time back in the 90s when they came over for conventions, and I got on great with Steve, and we would spend a lot of time at the bar waiting for Garth to show up because he was being wined and dined by the editors and stuff. And, but it was the only time I ever got to work with Steve was on Six Pack and Dog Welder. He did the covers for it. So he passed away before the last issue, before we finished the last issue. He'd done the cover. I had done a rough idea of what the cover was, where it's like the Blade Runner thing where it's like the foil version, foil origami of Dog Welder, and that was what the cover was for Steve to do. So I did like a quick little origami, went and did a sketch. So he used that, and the first time we ever got to work together. So towards the end of that final issue, I put a drawing of Steve in the background on like the little wall of heroes that they have, where the Tommy and everyone who's passed from the Hitman universe. So that was just something I made sure to get in there. So a little drawing of Steve. So
that's cool to be able to throw in your own like.
Yeah,
we
just had the time to do that. You make sure it's. I mean, that was one I knew would be okay to put in. But if you're doing your own little Easter eggs, you want to make sure you're not getting yourself in trouble. I know some people put like political crap in, and it's pretty stupid to do that.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, you can get caught real quick.
Yeah. So.
How did you and Garth actually meet up?
Like I said, in the early 90s, like actually it's 93, 94 in New York. He and Steve would come over to do New York conventions and spend time at the offices. And I used to go up to the office at DC all the time because I was living in the city. But you're drawn by yourself. So it's like anytime we should go and drop the pages off in person to the editors. And when Garth and Steve came up the one time, I got to meet them, went out for drinks with some of the editors and them, and they're just great guys, great to get along with. And after like 4 nights, the editors kind of ran out of juice. They were tired. And they said, "Hey, would you mind hanging out with these guys? Just they say they didn't do this, but they said, here's the DC card. Just put, don't put too much on it, but if you wouldn't mind like taking them out." So that's when I got to really hang out with them. And every time they would come in after that, I would see them, and I would kind of bend Steve's ear about the craft of comics, the fear of the white page and all the different stuff that we would talk about, like as artists. And Garth was just always hilarious and dark. And so we got along. So every time they came in, I would try and find out when they were coming to town and hang out with them. And then when I left comics and went to Disney in 97, Garth did a convention down there in like 2000 in Orlando, and I just got to meet up with him again when I was out of the business, and had a good time talking to him. And when I came back from Disney in 2004, Garth had moved to New York, so I caught up with some of the other people I knew from comics, and we started hanging out. Like I would go down every Friday to meet up with them for drinks somewhere. And it became like a weekly thing, and I would hang out with Garth, and then we're good friends. And I actually said I didn't really want to work with him because I didn't want to make it like, hey, you got any work kind of thing, and play off his fame and stuff. And I didn't want to screw it up and then end up not being friends with him because I screwed that all up. But we ended up working pretty well together. The first thing we did was Night Witches. Our first full thing we did was Night Witches, and then during the second round of Night Witches, what's that? Yeah, segue.
I was saying, hey, Carrie, see, great segue.
After the first round of Night Witches, that's when the boys was in trouble with deadlines, and he said, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And I said, "No, I didn't want to do it because I was worried that I would mess up the boys." But it ended up being a good thing all around. And yeah, Night Witches was one of my favorite things to ever work on because it's such an intense story, and based on reality, based on like we did our own fictionalized version of it, so we didn't offend anybody's actual families. But these were these women on the Eastern Front, Russian women who flew out-of-date biplanes with just a couple of bombs, and they would harry the Nazi the lines and drop their 2 bombs and then try to turn tail and get the hell out of there on these beat-up old biplanes. And they ended up doing quite a bit of damage and psychological damage to the Germans, who named them Nachthexen, like the Night Witches.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty intense stuff. And we did 3 rounds of that. To follow the story of Anna Karkova from a rookie pilot to basically a seasoned, grizzled veteran. And so we take her from her first flight all the way to the Gulag and beyond. So highly recommended. It's and the volume that you guys are showing there, that's the one where they collected it all into one story, because it's part of Battlefields from Dynamite. But then they did like their own separate thing, Dead Reckoning. I think the company's called Dead Reckoning, and they did their own collected edition from the Naval Institute, actually, in America. So yeah, and this was, that was actually the last comic that I did inking. Like, it was actually actual pen and ink. I just basically draw really detailed pencils now and darken them up in Photoshop. But the first Night Witches was ink, and I had to make sure not to screw it up because I hate whiteout. But yeah, I'm glad you guys.
I know you did a lot of research going into this. With the Night Witches. Did you, with getting all the planes and the uniforms and everything like that, did you have a lot of photographs you were referencing, or did you go into models maybe, or what all did you use to get the?
Yeah, go ahead, sorry. Yeah, no, I did a lot of internet research, and luckily Garth is like a super aficionado about all this stuff. So I thought I was on top of everything. I got these planes, and okay, this is the Yak, and this is the Yak 23, and he said, yeah, you got the right plane, but it's the wrong year. That the intake like that in 43. And I was like, oh my God, how do you know that? And now I know all that stuff too. I can look at it now and go, oh my God, how did they get that so wrong? And it was intense. The modelers though online kind of saved my butt, like because there are angles they just don't have in the museums unless you go there in person and crawl underneath the plane. So a lot of them were like models, and you just have to basically use the model as reference. I did like turnaround drawings of all the different planes, so many different reference shots, so that I had like a little database in my head of the planes, and then I would actually just move them around from the rough drawings to make all the dogfights, So and you try not to use them too much because it gets pretty obvious. It's like color forms. Remember those? Stick them on, And I didn't want to make it look too much like that, so you keep it as even as possible. Yeah, the storytelling in this was so much fun too. It's just it was just great stuff to work on. So, but yeah,
and you couldn't really.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was saying you couldn't really get it wrong if as you were saying, Garth was telling you like, oh, wrong year, because the pilots are so into their aircrafts and stuff that into their aircraft that they're constantly referencing, oh, this by model number and everything, and then they back and forth like, oh, and this is what the Americans are flying, and this is what the Germans are flying, and so it's one of those things. If you get it wrong, somebody's gonna just poke at you and be like, hey, now I know this was exactly this, and they'll dog you.
No, and I got to defend myself a couple of times when people were like, oh, but that's not the proper, like even one of the guns we drew or we used, it wasn't a Luger, it was a Walther, but it was the German version of the Walther that looked like a Luger, and someone got on me about that, and I said, actually, here's the reference, this is what I was told to use, and this is what it is. So the main thing is just if you get caught out on it, you just shrug and you go, listen, it's we did the best we could to try to be historically accurate because it's important, but it's actually just a bunch of ink marks on a piece of paper. So it's an illusion and you bought into it. So that's basically what it comes down to. So that's not really a plane. That's a drawing of a plane. It all Rene Magritte on you, So
Tell them.
No, it's nice that there are fans that are so dedicated to it. I mean, a lot of like World War II comics fans, war comic fans, were really into this series, and I appreciated their dedication to it. So, and I hope they appreciated the amount of effort I put in to get it as right as I possibly could.
You did beautifully.
Thank you.
What are a few historical facts you learned while working on the series?
Well, I didn't even know about that whole
Me either.
part of the Eastern Front War.
Reading this was like, whoa, mind blowing.
The second series of it with the giant tank battle in Kursk was something I'd never heard of, and it's like just the sheer. I mean, we always think of, like, growing up, watching World War II movies, and you think about like the Battle of the Bulge, and then you think about the Pacific stuff with the Japanese and the Americans there. But growing up in America, that's the parts that we heard about more. But the Eastern Front, the sheer humanity that was wiped out from that. It's like a whole separate World War II. I mean, almost more people died in the Eastern Front battle than in the rest of World War II combined, everywhere. So, I don't have the actual figures. I'm just saying, it's like, we're talking millions. It was insane. So having to learn about that was amazing and daunting at the same time. It's just horrifying to hear about that. But yeah, to be able to bring that part of the story out to have people see it and appreciate it was kind of probably the biggest honor I've had in comics to bring something like that to light. So I'm really glad you guys read it.
And you guys did a great job. I mean, I cite what everybody's saying. Just I had no idea about any of this, and I was reading the afterword that Garth had read about the research, and I was so surprised that a lot of it is based on historical fact, like it takes inspiration from, but a lot of it is comes from his imagination, or his creative retelling, let's call it. But it was just so honest and very realistic. And I don't want to say it's almost like you were there, but you not only understood the stakes, but you understood, what the point of it is, that what war brings out of us. For some, they rise to the occasion. To some, they stoop to levels that you would never think to do, but it's war. Like, for instance, at the end of the series, you have that one German soldier who's actually a decent person compared to the rest of his squad. And, he ends up dying regardless, because there's, I don't think there is such a thing as a good Nazi, but
well,
like,
I agree.
the whole three stories, you kind of build sympathy for this character, and then you're just like, it'd be like that sometimes, man. It'd be like.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is Garth is really good with the war stories about bringing the humanity to it, and what it takes for, sometimes you see the best in people, and sometimes you see the worst in people, and it's even more obvious and heightened in the situation of war. So I find I love Garth's writing, and I think that his war stories are really where he puts his heart, and that's like his detractors probably have they think it's juvenile this, juvenile that, and they should read his war story stuff, because that's what he really.
No, and I agree with you, because especially those stories. And again, it's funny because I feel like a lot of his great characters had that. I mean, Tommy Monaghan had his background in the military. You had Frank Castle. He's a Vietnam vet. You have this, literally war stories. And I think I recall Garth describing Battlefields, I think, is one of the favorite things he's ever done. Because like you said, it's that nice freeze frame of time, really kind of reminding you that war is war. Regardless of how the weapons change, of whatnot, it is still two sides fighting. There will be death, there will be compromise, there will be sacrifice, and there are always survivors. So,
Yeah. I mean, and again, he came up reading war comics the way we came up reading superhero comics. So for him, comic books were war stories. I mean, that's what he gravitated towards as a kid and what he got. So it's what we liked as kids, we bring to what we do as adults a lot of times. I mean, some of your favorite stuff that you did as a kid are like the things that you want to keep reading about now. There's a nostalgia effect to it. So he had the war stories, and I had Spider-Man. So, but you can meet in the middle and bring that kind of storytelling and dynamism to a war story that I might not have had if I didn't read superhero stuff. So, so that's what I love about comics in general, is the collaborative effort and the meshing of things that maybe shouldn't go together, but now you've come up with something new because of that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we only got a couple minutes left. One thing I wanted to make sure we brought up, just to bring everything full circle. So when I was a kid, my first comic was The Untold Legends of Batman here with Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Yeah.
And I fell out of comics. I never really got into comics until high school, and a lot of my friends were reading Marvel, Spider-Man, and everything. And it wasn't until this that I really got into comics. And this is really, as soon as I read this, like, I fell in love. Friggin' your work on Batman. This story is my all-time favorite story. The artwork you did is absolutely friggin' amazing in this. And any stories you'd like to share about working on this?
Yeah, that was like really early on in my career. I was trying to find out how to do the storytelling aspect of comics. I mean, I knew, kind of like what I said about The Boys, not watching the TV show, not getting into the details because I'm so wrapped up in the story. I needed to know how to do the details for this stuff. So I ended up working with different guys doing layouts when I first started out, and different guys doing inks. Trevor Von Eden did the rough layouts for this, and I did the full finished pencils. And then Jose Luis Garcia Lopez did the inks and basically taught me how to do the job. I mean, watching what he would do to the pencils I turned into him, I got to sit with him a couple of times up at the offices and have him explain to me what he was going to fix or change or what I could do differently, and what he liked about what I did. And he just spent so much time with me. It was only 4 or 5 times we got to meet up there at the office together, but it was like being an apprentice to a master. And he's still one of my favorite people in the world, and one of the greatest artists in comics. So that was like the biggest honor for me doing that project, which is a crazy pulp story. It's like I got to draw Batman the one time, and I got to draw Batman when he took steroids and drugs and got addicted. So, and having Jose be my mentor and guide on this was compatible. And I've tried to keep all the lessons that he taught away in everything else that I've done from that point on. So I seldom do a comic job without thinking about the lessons I learned working on that comic book. So that's the best thing you can do in comics, is learn something from somebody and then pass it on as you go. And I try to do that too. And even at the conventions, when someone comes up to show me their work and I can give them some encouragement, I can pass on lessons that I learned from guys like Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And I've worked with some great people, and they taught me stuff. Between Jose, Joe Orlando was the first guy that got me work up there at DC. George Perez, I got to work with him directly and talk to him on the phone before the internet. We were working on a project together. So if you're able to learn this stuff, I feel like it's your duty to pass it on to people that still want to learn about the basic storytelling. And, so yeah, but Batman, I mean, I was too young and dumb to know how daunting this should have been. I would never have been able to draw it today. Be terrified. And yeah, Superman's in there too. It's just a flashback, like a kind of a hallucination, basically. And
it's. I mean, the story itself is. You have you really never see Batman truly fail at anything.
Yeah.
And that's why he turns to the Venom drug, and I think this is the first time where it actually comes into play, eventually being the drug that Bane uses. But then just seeing Batman, cure himself of the addiction, just really shows to what type of strength he has. And my absolute favorite Batman story.
Thank you. Yeah. It's funny, that drawing at the bottom there of Batman laughing like that. There was a version of that way in the background in on somebody's wall in Wednesday, in the TV show Wednesday.
Oh no, sure.
I just happened to notice it in my freeze frame, just like, yeah, it is there. And it's like, it's not the exact drawing, but it's like, definitely based on that. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, no, it's a well-remembered and stories. And again, an honor to be a part of. It's like, I've been very lucky to work on some great projects over the years and to have them be well-remembered. So that's all you can ask for, I think. You do your best and you hope it moves somebody if it affects somebody in some way. I think that's kind of my job as an artist, is to get an emotional response from people when I'm telling a story. That's what I like to do anyway. So I'm glad it worked in that case.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I being a young kid, I watched like the 66 Batman and really this is what got me into reading Batman. And yeah, from there, I just stuck with Legends Dark Knight, and then, just grew from there. And, it's absolute all-time favorite character. And then that story. Yeah, amazing. I'm gushing too much. I'm squealing, as Carrie would say. So I know we are running out on time. Did anybody else have any additional questions before we start wrapping
That
things
was
up?
a really nice way to end his episode. He had some hope. He had a moral. It was a very Disney ending. It was very, very, very.
And we didn't kill his mother in the beginning. That's fantastic.
That's
That's
true.
what Disney would have done.
Uh-huh.
His mom was already dead before we started.
Oh, sorry.
Not Dan Jar.
I
Leo,
ruined it.
do you have that picture still up? The last page?
I can bring it up.
I had a question about that panel, Russ, the final one that you were commenting on.
Oh, the
Because,
laughing one?
yeah, this is something I'm really into lettering. I think it's really cool. And I was wondering, you said this was one of the first things you were getting all of this advice from
Yeah.
Jose Lucy. I can't do it
Garcia
without
Lopez.
singing the Art Balthazar's song in my head that he's done of it. So it's weird to say. But drawing for a letterer to be able to come in, I like the way the ha-ha-has led with his jawline and stuff. Did you learn how to draw for a letterer during this, or?
Actually, a lot. That's one of the main things I learned are working on this one, is like where to make, how much room the letter is going to need. And in that case, I didn't know we were also going without. It's a funny thing you start with lettering on this page, because we were going without sound effects. So having the ha ha ha's going across there, I didn't expect that. I thought it was just going to be a regular word balloon. It's so much more effective. The letter is Willie Schubert, by the way. And I did in the panel above that, when the guy comes out the window, the bar, I made the bar like across his back as if it was like an actual sound effect. So because we didn't have sound effects, I wanted a big crash sound, and I'm like, okay, we're not doing that in this one, so we'll go ahead and do like a little joke there and have it say bar across his back. But yeah, no, it was designed in the storytelling to have lettering where it was, and even the drop cap in the front. I'm terrible at lettering, so it's always an honor to work with a bunch of professionals.
Sorry, it was a weird question. I just was like, I liked how that panel went, and you said you were getting so many tips that I wondered if that was something that, yeah. So,
oh, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, great
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah, like a guy like Jose would know how to do all that lettering himself too, and yeah, he could even rough it in. There are times when you do rough it in pencil where you think things are going to go, but for the most part, especially now, back then the letterer was drawing was doing it right on the boards. I would send the pencils to the letterer, and he would do the lettering in ink on that, and then the board would come back and go to the inker. So now it's all done on the computer, so you don't have to worry about that stuff as much. But because people don't have to worry about it as much, they don't leave a lot of room sometimes, and they get in trouble. So it's good to know. It used to be you leave the top quarter of the panel for the letterer, depending on what they're going to say. And if you had the rare moment where there's no lettering, you could actually draw the whole panel with whatever way you wanted, and you knew it wasn't going to interfere with the storytelling. So,
and now it's just a layer that they can move around and shrink. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can. But again, some writers write overwrite the dialogue, and they and you have no room to draw the figures anymore. It's like sometimes you really want to do a close up, but if you do a close up, there won't be enough room for the lettering. So with a medium shot. So I don't know. But yeah, and yeah, like it's just passing on like different lessons you learn. Like you're always establishing shots. If you have like a bunch of captions, you want the establishing shot to be the one for that. And the way Joe Orlando put it to me is, I'll never forget to establish every page, reestablish the scene so people know where they are from page to page. Joe used to say to me, he's like, once a page, I got to see feet. And at first he said, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, is he like has a foot fetish or what? And I realized what he meant. Like once a page, you should kind of reestablish the scene. You don't have to do it the first panel. You don't have to do it the last panel. But somewhere along the line, pull back to let the reader know that you're still in the same place you were the page before. So, and just kind of like little golden rules of working in comics. So,
wow,
there you go.
One quick last question about the art that you how you work. Now, are you using like a tablet and draw directly on a tablet, or do you still do paper and pencil and then scan it in?
I still do paper and pencil and scan everything in. I have a beat up old Wacom tablet that I will scribble some things on to like add things in after it's done. But I do all my drawings. I do my storytelling on in a little thumbnail on the actual script page. Then I draw each drawing separately in a sketchbook or on scrap paper, scan it in, and I build my layouts by moving things around in the computer in Photoshop. Then I print that out to actual size, my rough layout. I put it on the light box, and I do my finished pencil drawing of the page over the layout. Then I scan that in and literally just darken it up and add blacks and little details in there. So the final page is a full pencil drawing, and then the final image is a Photoshop file. So that I send to the companies and they print it. So a lot of them don't know it's not ink, but the ones that do are happy either way. I think. I hope so. But yeah, it's a lot of work to get. I used to do that same amount of work and then ink it on top of that. So instead of drawing it 3 times, I'm only drawing it twice now. So at least it saves me some time.
Nice. We'll start to wrap things up. Do you have any cons that what's the next con that you're going to?
Next convention, I think, is only Baltimore in September. So I love Baltimore Comic Con. It's my favorite show. And then New York Comic Con. I made.
He just got a phone call.
Oh, there we go. We got you back.
You may.
Oh, I don't think he can hear us anymore.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, you had to ask your extra questions. We could have summarized it, but no.
I still have like 20 more.
Well,
no, not 20. That's a lot. That's a lie. We can wait until we see him again or talk to him again.
Yeah. Well, we'll
mark out whatever I have.
I'll put him into the background. I'll keep an eye out if he pops back in.
Yes.
When I see
it again. We'll just have Drew send him a beautiful message saying how much we appreciated him.
Yeah, but we didn't even get to say like how you can find him on like Facebook, and he's probably got like social media, and he's probably heard of Blue Sky.
Might have. I was going to ask you what rituals and like, well, what was it exactly? Any quirky rituals or special snacks for a session of drawing and stuff, so we could get it out of the way without like being like, hey, we're going to bring you stuff at a con. Find out ahead of time. Write it down. Huh?
So these scary questions. Doing research, you can. He said, "Oh, his computer died." Everyone.
Okay.
We should have a funeral.
We let them know. We'll send them a link.
There you go, Jack.
Let them know. We'll send them the uploads link after the show.
Yeah, if you want, you can. Yeah, do you want to just? Leo, send it to me, and I'll just send it to him right now.
Let's see if I can get it.
He'll just do it right now while we're on the show. We're losing everybody. We lost everybody.
I will put it in private.
Anybody watching anything good lately?
Well, before we get into that, Joe, just real quick. For Russ, make sure you check the links in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. You can check out his website, russ-braun.com. So that's RUSS-BRAUN.com. You can also find him on Facebook, russ.braun.589. And then on Twitter, also known as XCOM, which was an awesome game, Russ Braun 2.
I think.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm running on low power.
You're on low power, Drew?
I feel like a Fall Out Boy song. I'm sugar, I'm going down swinging.
Oh, there's
two Russes.
Oh my God, there's two of them.
Welcome back.
Oh, you're muted, Russ.
I muted him. You need to unmute yourself.
He doesn't know how. You're muted. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Go down, unmute yourself.
There we
go.
I had unmuted myself and then it muted me again. So here we go. So
machine.
I'll pretend that I'm not talking again. Good.
You're muted.
So how do we want to end this properly?
No. So the last question we normally ask everybody is, besides doing your work with comics, what do you dork out about? You mentioned, you talked with some model makers. Did that drive you to make some models, or you do 3D printing?
I'm not that much of a dork. That's Garth. He makes all kinds of different models too. What do I geek out about? I don't know. I don't have much time for anything. I mean, the standard stuff you would think that most comic artists, comic fans like, sci-fi TV, sci-fi novels, horror. I'm a big horror geek. So one thing, I'm a huge fan of Kolchak the Night Stalker. And I got to draw the cover and the interior illustrations for a new printing of the Kolchak novel, the first novel. So that just had a really successful Kickstarter. And that was like, you talk about geeking out. It was like, oh, all right, I get to draw my favorite TV show from when I was a kid, and I got to do the cover. So
there you go.
Still working on a couple of interior illustrations, but that'll be out in the fall, I think. So
nice.
So for
normally in terms of ending is, we just want our audience to know the best ways to reach you, social media.
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I stopped doing Twitter or X or whatever they want to call it, for reasons. But I'm easy to find on Facebook and Instagram. I do an image a day, like the image of the day on Facebook and whatever it is on Instagram. So different things, different days have, like, every Friday is Frankenstein Friday. Every Wednesday is Webhead Wednesday. And now I'm drawing monsters every Monday for the Monday Morning Monster. And there's a website where you can find art and sketchbooks. That's russ-braun.com. But come find me on social media. It's fun. It's just funny pictures and hopefully entertainment and some actually inspiration. The reason I started doing Facebook is all my friends were doing it, and they're like, well, you got to be on Facebook or you won't know what's going on. And I said, well, if I'm going to be on it, I'm going to do something positive, and I'm going to do something every day. So it gives me a reason to be there. So the image of the day, I've been putting up an image every day for 13 years now, I think. So
Wow.
Wow.
No, it's 10. It's 10 years. 10 going on 11 years. So most of the time it's new stuff that I draw that morning, but or stuff that I'm working on. So you get to see sketches. But if not, it's at least something that makes sense for the day that I've drawn already in comics. So yeah, check that stuff out.
That's awesome. And like I mentioned, we got all your links in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Russ, thank you again so much for your time this evening.
Sure.
Seriously.
Pleasure.
I appreciate it. You guys, it was great to meet everybody. So,
and we'll make sure we tag you when we repost the stuff as well.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
I will go to Leave Studio and then hang around for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Just leave the uploads page on, and you should be good.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mike. Have a good one.
Bye.
That was awesome.
All right. Listen, I'm dying already. No banter. Let's just go straight to the news.
But you don't want to talk about the Deadpool spoilers that hit?
No. Gonna see it on Thursday.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, so everybody be careful. The stuff is leaking. So same with you, Jar Jar. I'm gonna see it.
Well, you know what they should do?
Thursday.
They should plug it up then. If you got these leaks. God, doesn't anyone know boat etiquette? You got a leak, you plug it up. God.
They got that spray stuff now too.
Yeah. Come on.
At least it goes slower.
Flex spray.
All right. So Leo, let's do
sir.
It's time for
you're gonna
God. I'm drifting back into variant one. All right, everybody. I'm doing variant watch, but it's not Drew's news this week, so got a lot going on. So I don't know. Hold on to your butts. So
how'd you get stuck on variant watch so quickly?
First and foremost, we have another. God damn it! We have another glorious addition to Derek Chu's already impressive resume with his cover for Phoenix Volume 2, I believe. I'm pulling up my notes here. So, yes. So, as we've already seen, Jean Grey has her own solar adventure again as the cosmic galaxy-faring Phoenix. Stephanie Phillips and Alessandro Miraculo's Phoenix is apparently one of the highly anticipated comics this summer, and apparently also get a wasn't bad from Carrie. So that's pretty impressive, because if she didn't like it, she'd say no. So we have this gorgeous cover by Derek Chu, and as always, it's stunning.
Yep.
So this will be available August 21st if you are interested in adding it to your collection.
She looks hot.
It's because she's on fire.
And the next cover, please. One pun per cover.
I thought Jar Jar was going to start singing like that Phoenix is on
No.
fire. No.
That girl is on fire.
Next. Thank you. So, as we already know, Venom War is coming on, and the Black Widow, who Natasha Romanoff, who's now bonded with the symbiote, she's going to be playing an active role in the Venom War series. So she has her own tie-in series, Venom War, Venom Us. So this is following the one-shot, which goes sale a little later this year. This reunites Erica Schultz and artist Luciano Vecchio as they continue her story as one of the world's greatest spy is now have a symbiote. So I guess that's like, I don't know, making a really small nuclear weapon. So you have two variant covers here. You have the first one, which is, again, by Derek Chu, because, you know, if you're going to get good work, you're going to get good work. And then the second one is by Luciano Vecchio. So both of them, very creepy. definitely got that nice ominous vibe. Yeah. So these will be going out a little later this year. I'm not clear exactly if this is before or after the events that are happening in Venom War, which, as we saw, will be pitting Eddie Brock versus his son, Dylan, I think seemingly for control of the Venom symbiote overall. Yeah, so I know it does look awesome, doesn't it? It looks really cool.
Another Venom War, just what we need.
Oh yeah, because we don't have enough wars.
Has been asking for.
That's all we needed, Leo. Another war. All right. So the next cover is one.
Yay!
Continuing a tradition that we've been seeing more recently, Disney What If variant covers. So as we've seen, we're celebrating the 60th anniversary of not just Daredevil, but also Avengers and X-Men. So because Marvel is owned by Disney, naturally Mickey Mouse and his friends are going to take their time kind of reinventing classic Marvel covers. So so you're going to see more of these adorning select issues of Spider-Man all year long, black and white versions. So you've already seen the first one, I believe, was a classic Chris Claremont cover. That one right there that we just saw, that is, yes, that's a Chris Claremont cover from the Uncanny X-Men. The next one, that's from the Krakoa era. That's from around the beginning of it. So you got the Disney X-Men. That is from the Avengers. Leo, you can't just keep jumping back and forth. You're throwing off my groove.
I'm trying to catch you.
Yeah, that is from Avengers Disassembled. That was by Bendis and David Finch. That was the one where the Avengers break up. Is that it?
That is it.
All right.
Well,
that's not the end of.
Oh no. So fans will essentially check out the next one, the next thing of variant watch covers for the Disney What If. They're going to hit the stands October and December.
Do they not find it confusing that they had Donald and Goofy as Captain America? Which one's which? Who's the real Captain America?
Well, one could be Cap, and the other one could be Bucky Cap.
Oh, or Falcon Cap.
Or Falcon. It's the thing when you have more than one Captain.
Goofy with Wolverine as well.
And the last variant story is covers, but these include a cover that's near and dear to my heart. So we've already seen Exceptional X-Men. I believe these issues are selling out really quick. I believe already an issue 1 is already sold out and is going for a second printing. I don't know. I'm probably going to see the same thing for Exceptional X-Men. So you have Eve Ewing and Carmen Carnero. They're the team there. So you have Kitty Frost and Emma training a new generation of X-Men. So the new covers here, we have artist Joelle Jones, Elizabeth Torque, Rose Besch, a first in a series by Luciano Vecchio, a foil variant by Leisha Edge Ebenea, and then the last part of Scott Koblish's wraparound cover and a Godzilla variant by Lionel Francis Yu. So check these out.
That one, I believe, is the foil.
Yeah, that's got
again.
The second one.
Yeah. This one the foil or the other one?
No, I think that one's
this
the foil.
one.
This one the foil. Okay.
I think that one is.
Whatever. Next.
Let's fight.
X-Men fight.
Ah!
He's cutie.
There'd be dragons.
And
There we go. That's Godzilla.
That's Godzilla drawn by Lionel Francis Yu, everybody. So that's a dope Godzilla. And
I could not.
That's Scott.
This one, I think, is its own wraparound cover just for it, because I could not find a place to match this up with the rest of the Scott Koblish stuff. Like, I looked up his main cover and it
connecting variant, Carrie. So
No, I know. I spent about 20 minutes comparing all the segments, and I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see me. But none of those characters matched up to anything in the earlier released versions that we've seen of their wraparound cover, at least.
20 minutes.
So.
All right, so that's everything for Variant Watch, and I think we should just kind of get right into the you-know-what, because Carrie has very big news to drop.
Yes, I do.
Really?
Big news.
I do.
Huge. But
Huge.
Do it, Leo.
Drew's News, exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comic News.
God, please tell me this is the sign I slipped further into the coma.
Okay, yeah, Carrie, this is big stuff. Want to hear all about it?
Good luck, Carrie.
Right. Okay, just before we get this started, okay, Leo, just go through while I'm talking about the first stuff, the first 3 pictures in this one, and then I'll tell you when to move past that. But let us focus on these for a little bit. All right, so with Absolute Power reaching its end on October 2nd with issue 4, we've been told to expect some major changes coming up with the entire DC universe as we emerge into the next era, the Absolute era. The first glimpse we're going to be getting of this is a single issue flip book, DC All-In Special Number 1, which is available on October 2nd. And this houses a mega event. It's a 64-page book co-written by Scott Snyder, co-creator of The Batman Who Laughs, and Joshua Williamson from Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. And it can be read in 2 separate directions. You read one way through, and it has the artwork of Daniel Sampere of Wonder Woman fame, and the other way through features art by Wes Craig, known for his work on Deadly Class. And one side through takes us through the story as seen through Darkseid's point of view, and the other one is through Superman's point of view. So Snyder and Williamson there's a 10-minute video you can check out on Williamson's YouTube channel, but they really want to emphasize that this isn't just an event, it's an initiative. And it's welcoming creators from all of the universe's storylines to jump in and start new stories all at the same point. He said in the video announcement that there will be no reboots, no retcons, but new story arcs all beginning in October. The changes to the cosmology, however, do create a new planet, a wild and dangerous new DC universe, and this allows for the current books and storylines to continue whilst still allowing creators to make up brand new stories for our favorite heroes in the Absolute section of the universe. However, every book will be starting up a new arc in October, whether they are sticking to the same basic storylines they have been following or not. This includes brand new origin stories. So, since this is basically like the Ultimates version for DC, what we have going on in this flip book is Darkseid coming back like we've never seen it before. He is the biggest baddie who ever was, and he happened to have taken note of something that nobody else did during Absolute Power. What that is exactly, we have not been told. But in order to take him out, Supes calls out for all of the heroes to unite. However, when this new war starts, it shakes up more than just the world. Darkseid's secret quest actually twists the realities across the DC universe to mold them now with his own energy, which is chaotic and wild. There are plans for stories to come for the next few years in this new universe. And the main cover is going to be done by Sampere, with variants by Rafa Sandoval, Wes Craig, as shown in this one, and an as of yet unreleased cover by John Gang. Okay, now for the next couple pictures here, go on to the next one. And our first taste of the Absolute universe starts on October 9th with Absolute Batman, which will be written by Snyder and illustrated by East of West's Nick Dragata, and it gives us a Batman without Alfred, his mansion, or any of his money. Coming up next in the next picture, on October 23rd, Captain Marvel's Kelly Thompson is bringing us a new take on Diana, where she has never had a sisterhood, an island paradise, or a mission for peace in Absolute Wonder Woman, with art by Hayden Sherman, known for Batman Urban Legends. And last but not least, finally, Jason Aaron, writer of Scalped and Punisher fame, joined by Rafa Sandoval from The Flash on illustrations, is bringing us Absolute Superman on November 6th, where we will see how Kal-El turns out without a home, a family, or a fortress of solitude to fall back on. Snyder emphasizes that he believes these changes will make the characters more badass as they start off as major underdogs and have to work harder to become the best that they can be. And again, you can catch the flip book kicking all this off, DC All In special number 1, available on October 2nd, and you can pre-order all of this now at your LCS. So, bam! New universe in the DC. Everything is going to be starting off with with new stories, new arcs in October, and whole new universes, an entire new world. Kaboom! We're going to be getting some new characters, all of it.
And not a single thing to do with time travel. All right.
Nope.
I believe the next one takes us to a different place.
Oh, it does indeed. Marvel. Let me see. Where are we? Nope. That's the Green
Panther versus Black Panther, buddy.
Yeah. Here we are. This sweltering August, the iconic and bone-chilling, terrifying Yaksha, which I never knew that was their real names for predators, returns to the vibrant Marvel Universe for a fresh, heart-pounding hunt in highly anticipated Predator versus Black Panther. Following his mesmerizing work on last year's pulse-racing mega hit Predator vs. Wolverine, the brilliant and versatile superstar writer Benjamin Percy is back to deliver more glorious, adrenaline-fueled Predator action. He's joined by the immensely talented and acclaimed artist Chris Allen, along with the gifted Sean Damian Hill, meticulous Craig Young, and the dynamic Lee Ferguson. This thrilling 4-issue limited series pits the noble king against the merciless alien king as a fearsome army of bloodthirsty predators, including never-before-seen otherworldly clans from beyond the twinkling stars, invades the lush and secretive Wakanda. Driven by an insatiable desire to upgrade their already formidable bodies with the incredibly powerful and mysterious resources known as vibranium, these ruthless hunters will meet their most formidable match in the country's revered and indomitable protector, the legendary Black Panther. Today, eager fans can feast their eyes on all the stunning covers for the electrifying debut issue, including a breathtaking cover by Allen showcasing one of the terrifying new Predator designs. Additionally, they'll be treated to awe-inspiring pieces by some of the industry's most sought-after and talented artists like the whimsical Scotty Young and the masterful Lionel Francis Yu. Plus, devoted readers can get a tantalizing glimpse at the epic battles ahead by checking out the newly released jaw-dropping interior artwork. Wakanda is prey. Comic enthusiasts witnessed the Marvel Universe's most tenacious and ferocious mutant go up against one of the greatest, most ruthless killing machines in history in the unforgettable Predator versus Wolverine, and miraculously survive. Now the unsuspecting planet Earth lives on in brutal Predator lore, a planet teeming with the most exhilarating and challenging prey they could ever imagine, and the strongest, most coveted weapons in the vast multiverse are squarely in their sights. When a young, ambitious predator with something to prove sets its sights on Wakanda's precious vibranium. The noble and powerful Black Panther faces a cunning enemy whose technological resources rival those of his great advanced nation in this clash of titans who will prove stronger and emerge victorious. That is it.
And when's it coming out?
August
21st.
Yes.
It's going to be fantastic. I mean, Predator versus Wolverine was absolutely awesome. So if he's bringing that same kind of energy to Black Panther, you know, it's definitely going to have that original being that it's, you know, the jungles of Wakanda, that's going to have that original Predator feel, and it's going to be awesome. So, very exciting.
I'm wondering if he's going to have to call in some help, like, because good Lord, Predator.
I doubt it. Listen, if the Black Panther could take on all 4 members of the Fantastic Four with no problem, I think he can handle.
True.
So, yep. All right, and I believe the next one is me. Yes. So, Marvel has released some of the advanced solicitations for 4 of its current ongoing series for October. As we've seen, October is a pretty busy month for Marvel. So with the Ultimate Universe, we're promising the debut of the Ultimate Hawkeye, and apparently we might be seeing the Sorcerer Supreme. So if we can go back to the first image, Leo. Thank you. With Black Panther, as he's still dealing with his battle with Moon Knight, Khan Ra, we see that essentially magic, mysticism, and metal are clashing, where there's apparently a new anti-vibranium. And essentially, we see Black Panther wrestling with this existence, it's dealing with its consequences. What is the price for its power, and what is the price for trying to master it? So, as you can see on the top there, it introduces the aforementioned Sorcerer Supreme of the new Ultimate Universe. But as we can see, it's not the same as the other Marvel Universe, because this one might be tied to the anti-vibranium. So, be interesting to see what their Doctor Strange or Sorcerer Supreme looks like. Next, we have Ultimates, which is introducing their version of Hawkeye, who might be aiming to assassinate the Ultimate version of Captain America. Essentially, as the solicit says, a new challenger approaches when an unknown civilian picks up a discarded bow and arrow and refuses to let the Ultimates reclaim the stolen Stark tech. Captain America tries to settle the dispute, leading to an action-packed brawl of arrows versus shields. Meanwhile, the Ultimate Hellfire Club is up to something. So we've been seeing in the book that the Ultimate, aka this universe's version of the Avengers, have been building up their team in a world that is very devoid of heroes until they intervene. So while they're still trying to piece together their team, the Ultimate Hellfire Club, which are essentially lackeys of this universe's Reed Richards, aka the Maker, the villain from the original Ultimate Universe. So there's definitely a lot going on there. So definitely check that out. That'll be on October 9th. It's Dennis Camp and artist Juan Frigeri. So on October 16th, we have Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, I added an extra one in there.
Oh, gotcha.
What we just saw there was the Hawkeye-centric variant. That's by In-Hyuk Lee. So next one is on October 16th, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 10, where we will see J. Jonah Jameson, Ben Parker, and Harry Osborn Green Goblin all together in one story. For that story, we see Jameson and Parker are investigating the Goblin, although they might not like what they see. Because as the solicit says, in this world of shadows and secrets, every unturned rock leads to danger, and they'll soon have to decide which is the greater danger, uncovering secrets or keeping them. So the returning guest artist, David Messina, is in here for this one. And you have the cover by the regular artist, Marco Cicchetto, is right here. So either way, still looks gorgeous. And then finally, on October 30th, we have Peach Momoko's Ultimate Issue 8 by writer and artist Peach Momoko, which is digging into the nature of the now appropriately named X-Men. So it's digging into the nature of mutants in this new universe, and essentially how the Maker, who kind of engineered all of it. So this villain that will be revealed here might be the ultimate version of the Shadow King, who has been hinted at for quite a few issues. And as we see there, we might also be getting a new ultimate Cyclops. So the question being is, what are mutants? Where do they come from? What has the Makers Council been keeping them under control? All this and more as our heroes investigate a murder that the authorities keep covering up, and the Shadow King advances his sinister plots. So that is, again, on October 30th, just in time for Halloween, kids. So that's up the Ultimate Universe. Everything is still selling pretty well, pretty hot. So I would definitely say grab them while you can.
Woohoo.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm up next. So
Yeah. Adorable.
So you think they're adorable. Okay.
They're
So
terrifying.
folks, get ready for some furry fun. And not furries, but furry fun in a galaxy far, far away. Marvel's cooking up a new comic series that's going to make Ewok fans lose their minds. So remember those cute little teddy bear warriors from Return of the Jedi, because they couldn't do Ewoks on, not Ewoks, Wookiees on Kashyyyk. They needed to save some money, so they made them shorter, and that's how we got Ewoks. It's just Wookiee reversed. Bet you didn't know that.
Did you know that Ewoks can use a bow?
It's not Wookiee in reverse.
So stick to the story.
Yeah.
Save your info for the 40th anniversary, okay?
Okay. Well, yeah. So this is the 40th anniversary from those amazing Ewok movies. But they were first seen in Return of the Jedi, and they're back to kick some Imperial butt. So this October marks the launch of Star Wars Ewoks, a 4-issue limited series that explores the aftermath of Battle of Endor. It's been 40 years since these furry fighters first appeared in their own spin-off series. And there was like a couple movies. There was some comics. There was a cartoon as well. So, and now they're ready to defend their home once again. And also keep in mind, they're cannibals, if you didn't know. I mean,
what? They eat themselves?
No, they eat other people.
They're omnivores.
That's not a cannibal.
Oh, yeah, they're omnivores. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Carrie. Or they could be carnivores. Oh, okay. I just remember all the. Never mind. We won't get into it. So the creative team behind this series is impressive. Steve Orlando, known for his stellar work on Scarlet Witch, is penning the story, and the art duties are split between Alvaro Lopez, fresh off his dynamic work in Extreme Venomverse, and Laura Braga, who's been making waves with her contributions to Star Wars: The High Republic. The plot revolves around a group of Imperial-led bounty hunters and scavengers searching for hidden weapons on Endor. Naturally, they'll have to contend with the battle-hardened Ewoks, and who aren't about to let their home be threatened yet again. So adding intrigue to the mix is a mysterious new Ewok warrior that ties to fan favorite Wicket. Star Wars Ewoks #1 hits comic book stores this October on the 9th. Whether you're a diehard Star Wars fan or simply enjoy tales of unlikely heroes, definitely check this one up and reserve it at your LCS.
What if you're a Star Wars fan that hates Star Wars?
Then you just need to stew in your hate.
Well, that's what I've been noticing with the Acolyte. Most Star Wars fans, even though they watch it, they hate it.
Why are you watching it?
Yeah.
That's just how they are.
I have to say that started off meh, but it had some really good parts.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was the lightsaber scenes were pretty epic.
Save it for the blog.
The story was, it was a Star Wars story made for TV.
The funniest thing I've seen is the end scene with the lightsaber color. I saw somebody complain, well, why didn't that happen in the Sith? It was like, what? It's just, yeah.
All right.
People are too nitpicky. But anyway, we will move on.
Carrie.
Boom Studios is bringing us some more news. On October 16th, Vicarious will be hitting your local comic book shop. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Ryan Parrott and artist Eleonora Carlini of Go-Go Power Rangers renown are bringing in an original sci-fi psychological thriller. The main character, Justin, discovers a world where the rich pay to live vicariously through the bodies of the young and beautiful, known as proxies, via implants. The co-creators are pushing the boundaries in both storytelling and art in this neo-noir book. Vicarious features main cover art by lauded artist Dan Penosian from Alice Never After, and variant covers by Reiko Murakami from Ghost Lore and Rebecca Puebla from Deja Torres. And again, that will be coming out on October 16th. Looks to be pretty damn nifty. There's just been so much great stuff coming out of Boom, though, lately that I at this point, I don't think they can do any wrong. We'll see how this comes out since we have the new Boom being owned by Penguin Random House, though. It doesn't seem to have been holding them back so far. So
awesome. Yeah. Cool beans.
Yes.
Well, speaking of cool beans, or maybe dark beans.
Dark
Sure,
beans.
let's do.
How's that have to dark beans?
This is
What's going on, Leo?
He's fading. Let's just.
DC Comics is relaunching Elseworlds line, and with feature stories set outside the main DC Universe continuity, the latest addition to this line is Green Lantern Dark. Set to debut on October 23rd, DC has just released a first look at this new series. Green Lantern Dark is a collaboration between writer Tate Bombal, known for the House of Slaughter, and artist Werther Del Edra, recognized for Something is Killing the Children. The series will focus on the Green Lantern from the Tangent universe. You guys remember that from the 90s? Character first introduced in 1997, the 7-issue limited series will be released bi-monthly. First issue will feature a main cover by Del Edra, with variant covers by artists Homar, David Nakayama, and Dan Jurgens, with Norm Rapmund and Alex Sinclair, my bad. A special foil variant by Omar is also going to be available. Brumbal expressed excitement about the project, saying they're reimagining the concept of Green Lantern. The protagonist, Rena Mori, is described as a reluctant hero who must rise to the occasion despite her wariness. Story is set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by monsters, where evil has triumphed over good. Humanity struggles to survive in this corrupted wasteland. The Green Lantern, wielding a mystical green flame, is rumored to be the last hope for bringing light back to this dark world. However, she's been missing for years. Meanwhile, on an isolated island in New England, Solomon Grundy's undead army grows stronger each night. This new take on Green Lantern promises to offer readers a unique and gritty perspective on the classic DC hero. And again, it releases on October 23rd.
So we can say, help me, Green Lantern, you're my hope.
No. I wasn't even going to let you finish that. I was like, no.
You used to fight with my father in the Clone Wars.
Moving on, please.
And then somehow they came back.
Okay, get ready for a shit ton of pictures.
Yeah. So,
by the way,
following Carrie's news
crap.
About the big change that we've seen, Leo, just try to work with me here, buddy. Okay?
Yeah. No, I need to see what the last picture was.
Okay.
So I know where to stop.
Oh, okay, fine.
Good. Continue on.
So the DC universe, as we've seen with Carrie said, there's major changes coming. The DC All In initiative is the new is the new thing right after Absolute Power happens. So, on top of the Absolute universe that we're seeing, there's also going to be an ongoing line of core titles with new directions, great jumping on points. And as we've seen, October 2024, there's going to be a bunch of new creative teams for each project. So I was planning on doing each one, but...
Oh, okay. We'll go through it.
Yes. No, it's okay because they're all a little different, but that's fine. So we have Philip Kennedy Johnson and Javier Fernandez will be on Batman and Robin, following up Joshua Williamson's run. So you got some of those really great variants there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Then we have Torun Gronbeck and Fabiana Mascolo on Catwoman.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep.
And then we have Tom Taylor and Mikhail Janin are going to be taking the reins on Detective Comics, which should be very exciting, especially since
Tom holding your microphone?
Wrapping up his well-received run of Nightwing this year.
What was that you said, Jojo?
I think my...
That's a Tony Harris comic of that. I've seen him working on that. That's gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's beautiful too. Then you have Chris Condon and Montos on Green Arrow, which is also, again, following up Joshua Williamson's work on the title.
I don't get why they're all screaming in this one. They're like, ah!
I think they're all mad at his decisions in Absolute Power.
Is that Harley?
Yes.
Yep.
For some reason,
Yeah,
there's a Harley cover.
There's a whole section of Harley.
I don't... Yes, there's Harley.
Lots of Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you have Dan Waters and Dexter Soy on Nightwing. So... And then I believe concluding this, we have John Layman and Pete Woods on Titans, following Tom Taylor's work on the title.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's amazing. Cool beans. And when does this hit?
This is all in October, Leo. So these are all going to be released, at least with the new directions, around the same time that we're going to be dealing with the all-in Absolute. So October is going to be quite a busy month. So my best advice to all of you DC fans, I would pre-order which books you want to do now. Save yourself the heart, especially for those issue ones, because you know they're going to sell out like hotcakes.
Yeah, I'm interested.
I hope they're not redoing like volume 4 now of Batman.
No, I think
I hope they keep the legacy numbering.
But I will say the next story that Leo's going to cover, I am very excited about because it is a great team up and a great story. So, Leo?
Yeah, I'm excited for it as well. Absolute, I'm on the fence about. We'll have to see how it goes. But with this, get ready for an exciting new chapter in the Batman saga. So DC Comics has announced Batman and Robin Year 1. It's going to be a 12-issue series set to debut on October 16th. There we go, October again. Mm-hmm. So this highly anticipated series brings together the powerhouse creative team of Mark Waid and Chris Samney. So Mark Waid, known for his critically acclaimed runs on Kingdom Come, Superman Birthright, and also most recently World's Finest, which he's still working on, teams up with Sam Neill, whose stunning work on Daredevil and Captain America has earned him multiple Eisner Awards. Together, they're set to explore the early days of the dynamic duo's partnership. The series delves into Bruce Wayne's struggle to adapt to his new role as Dick Grayson's adopted father, while simultaneously introducing Robin to the world of crime fighting. So, as if parenting wasn't challenging enough, a new criminal mastermind known as the General arrives in Gotham. Threatening to upend the city's underworld, the plot thickens with a mysterious connection to Two-Face, adding another layer of intrigue into this complex narrative. So Waid emphasizes that while Batman and Robin take center stage, the heart of the story lies in the developing relationship between Bruce and Dick. He says it's sinking in for Bruce that he has no idea how to be a father. So Waid explains, highlighting the human element that often makes Batman stories so compelling. Sam Neill, for his part, is excited to showcase the contrast between the two characters. Dick is everything Bruce is not: impetuous, flamboyant, reckless.
That is a shot.
I hate that cover. Yeah. I was like, do I really have to put this one up?
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. He says promising dynamic visuals that capture their evolving partnership, with variant covers by industry talents like Mikhail Janin, Matteo Scalera, Carl Kerschel, and Lee Weeks. Batman and Robin Year One is shaping up to be the most read for a must-read for Batman fans and newcomers alike. Mark your calendars for October 16th, when this thrilling new take on the Cape Crusader and the Boy Wonder hits your LCS.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I like the Year One stuff.
Same here.
Listen, it's Mark Waid, everybody. Like, let's be honest here. The dude's gonna kill it. I'm gonna tell him that when we see him at Terrificon. I'm just be like, we're all very excited.
Just send us the PDFs.
It's him and reuniting with his Daredevil collaborator Chris Samney, just perfect. So, because tonight hasn't been full of enough news, I believe Carrie has a spooky note to end it with. Isn't that right, Carrie?
Yes. One last thing tonight. On sale again on October 16th, Archie Comics is presenting The 9 Lives of Salem, written by Harrow County's Cullen Bunn and illustrated by Dan Schoening of Ghostbusters fame. 2 years ago, we were graced with the one-shot The Chilling Adventures of Salem, and now Cullen follows it up with more adventures. Salem has to conquer foes from the past that he has transformed into pets, whilst he is now in his cat form. Needless to say, they aren't happy. The main cover is by Schoening, and the variant cover is by Robert Hack, known for his Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And I just like the way Cullen described it. With 9 Lives of Salem and the previously published Chilling Adventures of Salem, we're setting our own fiendish feline up as an occult investigator of sorts, the John Constantine of the Archie universe. And make no mistake, even with a cat as the protagonist, these standalone stories are dark and horror-filled. You can grab a copy and delight in the terror we're unleashing in these pages. I really like the idea of having the cat as a John Constantine type of character in the Archie universe. So,
and hopefully they don't have him smoking. Such a horrible habit.
It's going to be so strange seeing Dan drawing something that's not Ghostbusters related. But I'm very excited about this.
So there's the 2 covers there, and get it ordered. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
Nice.
We did it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. I think that's all.
We did it. Hooray.
All right. Leo, I'll end it before we sign everything off.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap everything up, and I was going to say something else, but I can tell, Drew, you're tired, so we'll wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for watching us. Let me start over. Okay, I want to thank everybody for watching us this fine afternoon. And make sure you check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Check out our YouTube page. We're about to hit 500 subscribers. And yeah.
You could be one of them.
Exactly. We if you don't have time for the weekly show, I chop it up into a whole mess of bite-sized segments and put it up there. And you can find little nuggets and stuff. Also, panels and interviews from Comic-Cons are there. A lot of awesome stuff. And without further ado, we'll kick it over to Carrie.
Hey, everybody. When I'm not here hanging out with these fine gents, you can find me over on the Owlite Network, a subdivision of the Dorkening, doing things with a lot of storytelling. You can also find me writing things. If you look at Carrie Sanders on Facebook and you see a picture of a crow, that's me. All of my links are there. You can go to my author page, Owlite stuff, Splash Pages stuff. Just go there, find me, read my stuff, watch my stuff. I work with amazing people, so you get to have all the extras and me and a squirrel.
Don't forget to say what you're doing Sunday.
Ooh. Actually, this Sunday I am not guaranteed. I have to hear back from the guest. So.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, but Monday we will be doing Manos Hand of Fate on the Tomb of the Terrible. So if you really want to torture yourself, tune in next Monday for Tomb of the Terrible on the Owlite Network.
God,
what was the name of the movie?
Manos.
Man.
It's horrible, Jar.
They're fantastic. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you've joined us and hung out with us for the entire show. Come check me out on Facebook, Jeremy Courtney. Come check out Comic Book Lovers Buy Sell Trade on Facebook, and you can buy, sell, and trade all your wonderful comic book collections and stuff and all that stuff, and buy stuff on there too. Let's see. Go to Terrificon. Come see us. We'll be there, hanging out, having a good time. Check out some panels like the one with Kyle Starks or the one with Carl Paliano. Those would be good ones to check out. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Very subtle. Hey, everybody. As you can tell, I'm dying. So that must mean the show is almost over. So we had a lot of great fun. We had a great guest. We have a lot of news. And it's only going to be busier next week because San Diego Comic-Con will be done. So we're going to be up to our eyeballs in news and variants. So stick around for that. But we also have excited that we have a returning guest. We have the great Keith Champagne. He's going to be coming back next week. He's going to be talking about his latest Kickstarter. We'll find something of his we haven't already read. We're going to shoot the shit. It's going to be awesome. Please stop by, especially as we are on this countdown to Terrificon. So stay tuned, stay cool, and may the force be with you.
With that, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.